Being high on Google doesn't mean you're going to be in the large language model.
I feel like we are moving from eyeballs to algorithms.
There's a whole industry which has just spawned up, which is basically spamming Reddit to insert businesses within comments that are appearing in LLMs.
He arrived in New Zealand 17 years ago, knowing nobody.
He started a search agency in 2009, when every competitor was promising page 1 on Google in 3 months.
Those competitors were wiped out by a single algorithm update.
Is it about to happen again?
Now, there's no emotion when an AI agent makes that decision, and so user interface irrelevant. What is important is the information that you give the AI agent.
What are the mistakes business owners are making that are not helping for them in this space?
There's no point taking these shortcuts for short-term gains when there is the risk of brand damage, there is the risk of losing visibility, and I see it all the time at the moment.
What do you need to do to play the long game, not the short game?
So first I would look at
Today's episode is brought to you by AcademyEx, New Zealand's premier postgraduate institute for business owners and professionals. They're an absolute game changer for New Zealand business owners and professionals who are ready to stop talking about the next level and actually build the skills to get there. You can hit the link below or scan the QR code on your screen to learn more about AcademyEx. But what I want to talk about is you as a business owner running the Optimisers, founder of Pure SEO, you're using AI as a business owner and making money out of it. And there's a lot of business owners now making money. So I want to delve deeper into the behind the scenes of what Richard is doing. You're running a very successful company, and I want to know how you're using AI to make money so that people can learn. So tell me, I don't know where you want to start, but when you think about AI, how is it playing a role in your business?
Cool. So I'll talk about myself first.
Please do.
So I use Claude and ChatGPT as it happens on a daily basis. For someone like myself, it actually just changes the game, because one of the issues I've got ADHD, so I think all over the shop. And one of the issues I've had over the years is being able to communicate my thoughts and my vision to the team in a manner that they can actually understand and execute. And what Claude does is you can kind of give it your vision, give it the thoughts and all the different tangents, and it's able to put it into a cohesive format and a structure that can be communicated to the next level down that they actually understand. Because often I sort of explain to people what I mean, and they sort of grin and nod, and then nobody really understands it because I haven't communicated it properly.
Yeah.
But using Claude and ChatGPT, and I use them for different things, it's just changed that. And not just internally, also with proposals and with all sorts of things, even the business structure. And I think the difference between using it the way I use it and using it in a way that is dangerous is that I tend not to delegate the thought process to the AI. So I have the thought process, I have the ideas, and I ideate through it. I think where it becomes dangerous is if you delegate your thought process to it. So you don't come up with the ideas, you want AI to come up with the ideas. And
can you please make a distinction here?
Cool. So basically you could say to AI, I want to start a business, give me some ideas. And then you're not actually using your own thought process, your own brain, basically. And so I think
when you say it's using your thought process and brain, what does that look like?
So for me, what I would do is I might define the type of industries I want, some ideas, what appeals to me, and then it comes back with something, and then I go backwards and forwards. And so it's almost like having someone to bounce ideas off and really formulate a more structured thinking. Whereas I think the danger is that especially younger people will just use it verbatim or use it instead of thinking themselves, and then you lose the ability to critically think, and I think that's a real danger in our society.
Okay, so let's delve deeper into the next level use for AI. Our audiences are people making $1 million plus. They might have stuff, so they're sitting thinking, how is Richard doing it? Cool.
So there's two sides. I use it myself daily, and there's all sorts of things you can do. You can have all your brand guidelines, your iconography, your tone of voice, all set up, learn so that it just refers to that and it creates things in your format. So it just saves a lot of time, especially if you're designing an app like myself. But then there's the other side. We've got a head of AI, Jennifer, who's awesome. And I knew things were changing. And so what we've done in the business is we've remodeled the business from scratch. We used to have this CRM called Excello, which is an enterprise beast of a CRM. But you kind of mold your business to fit the CRM rather than the other way around. And they wanted to charge us for the most seats we'd had. And we were smaller, and I wanted to pay for the seats we were actually using. And they refused when I negotiated. And so that was a defining moment. And I said, well, let's just see how we do it ourselves. And so 6-8 month project. And what we've done is we've taken all the data from systems, various systems. We've cleaned it. We've put it into a new database. We used Google BigQuery. And then we built a front end using something called Airtable, which has got AI integrated into it, and our own way of working into it, like ignoring the legacy systems. And that's been built and architected in a way where it's totally scalable. You can change out the AI that you use, and you can like plug on extra bits. And so it's pretty future proof, but it's taken a long time to get to where we are, and I couldn't have done it myself. Like the lady we brought in is exceptional, and we've had a few false starts in this by getting the wrong people. And so when you do find the right people, they can actually make real change. I like to try technology and play with things, and one of the things we've done with Pure, which we're playing with recently, it's probably been live about a month, is we're using AI callers. So calling our database, chatting to them to do lead generation, literally using an AI voice. And the vast majority of people don't realize it's an AI voice, even though we tell them. And it's really interesting to hear the calls and the way people interact with it. Some people get really annoyed, some people love it.
So you have an AI voice that answers phone calls for you? It
phones and it calls people and it has the conversation. It's trained on all our data, and it...
How is that going for you?
Well, still early stages, but there's a reasonable number of appointments being made. They're all quasi-warm people because they're all people, either they've worked with us before or they're in our database. So they're not people that won't have heard of us. And I don't know whether it will be an enduring strategy, but really I wanted to play with it, because anything that we look at doing, if we're going to offer it to a client, I want to test it first. And,
I see.
It's really interesting. And I was invited by 11 Labs, who are like the voice AI company, to their launch in Sydney. And the technology is incredible. The latency is much better than it used to be. And some of the case studies they were talking about, like with Employment Hero, like absolutely excellent. And this technology has gone on in leaps and bounds. And at the moment, the latency, so how quickly it responds, is just about okay. Like it's just teetering on okay. But what's really cool is interruption detection. So if you're in a conversation and the person interrupts you, it contextualizes that, it stops it, and it's really good. Like really, really good. And so I think we're going to go into a world where these things become ubiquitous and people get really irritated, and there'll have to be legislation around it. But there is a period now where they're not ubiquitous, where not many people are doing it. So there's an opportunity, an early adopter opportunity.
How do you feel about the authenticity of an AI agent calling someone? People say, that doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel personal. It's not human. I mean, just thoughts here. How do you reconcile that this is not a real human talking to a customer, but it's actually not a human? So how do you keep it authentic? And do they sound so human? Do you say this is an AI agent?
They say something around that.
Okay,
and a lot of people actually ask them as well.
Are you a robot?
Which is quite funny.
Yeah.
But I'm not involved directly in the project. I've listened to a few of the calls as it happens. But I think if you're leaders in technology, you've got to try this stuff. Would I use it for lots of things? Probably not. But for, it might be for accounts payable or certain processes that are appropriate. But it's funny, some people love it. Some people love the idea when they see that they're speaking to a new technology. I'm sure people get irritated once everyone starts using it.
So if I ring Pure SEO, would I get an AI agent now?
No, it's a very limited, and for us, it's an experiment to see, and it's a good story and a good talking point. And we want to try all the different technologies. We want to understand where things are going. And I don't think you can understand things properly unless you actually
do the stuff.
Immerse yourself.
Yeah.
And
see what's it like.
And I couldn't honestly recommend something to somebody if I didn't think it was appropriate for them. And without doing a test case ourselves, I wouldn't know.
Is it saving you money? Is it saving you money or helping you save time?
Not really at the moment.
Really?
It could do.
It could. What's the potential?
Well, it could do if it's good enough and it's a cold caller and it generates cold leads. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But there is, like you said, there's a brand angle with that. Could it be brand damaging?
Yeah.
Hence the limited release. Yeah. And also, I'll probably use it down the line for a PR story because it is reasonably controversial.
It is. I have some really strong feelings that's coming through from people who hate it. They think, how can you even do that? But then some other people will go, no, it's fantastic.
Well, why do they hate it? Like, if we dig into that, why do they hate it?
Well, they're talking to a robot and it's not personal because, at the end of the day, is not... Like, I still get annoyed talking to an ASB robot when I ring ASB, the bank. Shouldn't really name names, but too late.
But if it's indistinguishable, how's it different from being called by a salesperson who's just literally a salesperson? They don't know you for Larry and they're just cold calling you.
They... it's just a mindset, isn't it? It's a mindset. It's a mindset. It's a way of thinking. It's humans like humans. They don't like robots. We like to talk to real humans because we know like this is a real person. And I mean, this is what I hear. I mean,
that was my initial thought. I'm just sort of like playing devil's advocate to see what you think because it's interesting.
I am of the view that, I mean, personally, I am of the view to try stuff. And you got to be like quite wise on where you place your technology in your business. You want to understand how people feel. Play it like you're doing. Play a small role like in your business where you're not spreading it out to everybody, and you can control the outcomes. You probably even let people know that you're using this technology, but at the same time, be aware that there's people out there who
you can upset
may not want to do a deal with you anymore because this is too impersonal. Where's the personal touch of the company?
It is an interesting concept, and part of the rationale as well is a lot of the competitors will be trying this, maybe not yet, but in the future. And so if we have a understanding before it becomes like the norm, we'll know whether that's a path that's relevant for our customers or not before everybody. And I'd rather lead than follow.
Yeah, and I do sense that this is the positioning for your work has always been, I'm going to want to try and get ahead and see what happens. You were talking about AI, about Claude, and about how you use it to make business win business. Do you have an AI automation system now for you personally, like AI agents, and they're all running together or separately? Like, how you have Claude, you can have co-work with you, or you can have Claude Code.
Yeah.
Are you using that stuff?
I'm using Code and co-work myself.
How are you using that? I'd love to know.
So, funnily enough, I've got a 15-year-old boy and I like to get him involved in technology and using Claude Code. We built a website in 3 hours and we launched it, and it was better than I could have done in a million years. And and we created a multiplayer game for him. And so for myself, a lot of it is around individual elements of a process. So I write a lot of content and I love writing, but I have agent that has access to all these white papers, which has the data and extracts the data based on my request. And I have another one that writes the first draft, then another check for accuracy, and then I get the output. But me being me, I like to write it from scratch again with my own anecdotes and my own spin. But that whole process saves me hours and hours and hours. And it gets me access to like the bits of data that I need within those white papers. And I also then, because I'm extra cautious, put it through ChatGPT and get Chat to check it for accuracy and double check. And then I have something, and then I start again, like I say, from scratch. And it'll take me, the whole process might take me, 2, 3, 4 hours, whereas that would have probably taken me at least a week to get to that stage. And so it supercharges me. And like I say, I think, if you've got the ADHD mind, you can think of the ideas, you can plan everything, but the systems and execution is the difficult bit. And that's the bit that really gets helped through AI.
And how do you deal with your prompts, and how do you make sure that your prompts are delivering the right results?
So obviously the AI learns kind of what you want, but I often spew my thoughts into ChatGPT and then get it to write a prompt for Claude, which it writes quite a good prompt. I then edit that prompt because I see where it's going, and I tweak it a bit so that it gets the outcome I want. Then I'll put it in Claude. Claude will then create an output, and then it'll be a backwards and forwards. It's never right in the first time, but it might get 60% of the way there, which would have taken me a long time, especially if it's putting together a PowerPoint or something, which, like, so I've got no creative skill, like design skill whatsoever. I'm sort of design inept, and it just allows me to have something that looks better than I could have ever made it and gives me a structure. And that's the baseline for me. And then I'll play with that and I'll edit it, and then I'll get Claude again to tidy it up a bit, look for any things. And it's an iterative process, and it might take a week, it might take longer, but the output is better than I could have ever done alone.
Because now Claude have MCPs and it has, so MCP is like a, if you have a laptop and you have a plug into power, that is like the plug, if you may, plugging into Claude. Claude is the main sort of orchestrator, the one that is doing all the handy work. And MCPs, hopefully I've described this correctly, I'm not very techie.
That's all right.
So what sort of MCPs do you connect with? What sort of apps that are very helpful for you right now?
So create more of the skills at the moment. And my Jennifer creates MCPs, which, like, she did one for an RFP, where and then download request for proposal.
Okay.
And then also download and edit skills. And then we've got like skills which go across the organization, and then co-work. Obviously it can access folders on the computer as it can with Claude. And so a lot of this stuff's created for me. And then I create my own based on my own way of working. But I get, Jennifer sends me all cool stuff, and she's far smarter than I am on this stuff. Like, a lot of the stuff she says goes well over my head.
Right.
But it's made me a super producer. Yeah. Which I can't describe how much more productive I am than I was 6 months ago, just because of Claude Co-work, Claude Code. And it's really good for me and my kid, because he loves technology. Yeah. And we can sit down. He hasn't got a paid version, but he sits down with mine, and we've got enterprise version, and we do cool stuff together. And it's a really cool way to bond with my 15-year-old.
So good, yeah.
And he's a smart kid, so he teaches me stuff. And he's always, he just sent me this morning. He's in the UK at the moment about Fable 5 coming back available, which is the Claude model, which was really good when I used it.
What do you think of Fable 5?
It was really good to use. I used it when it was available previously. It was exceptional.
How did you use it?
I used it to create that website thing with. So I own a place in Ruakaka, and I own the URL Ruakaka Beach.co.nz, and so in hardly any time we created this website from scratch that had form fill-in, that had information about the locality. We got it hosted and live, and I never could have done any of that. And a lot of the steps to do it, I just asked Claude, what do I do next? And it guided me through the entire process. And so we did it from scratch with my son can code a bit, but I'm not a coder.
Oh, wow.
And so it's just amazing. And I'm sure I don't use it in the best manner possible. Jennifer would use it far
More
better
intensely.
than me. But I have the enterprise license. So I have like loads of tokens. So I'm always playing with different things and trying. And I think that's one of the things that works specifically for me, is just trying things, immerse yourself into it, play with things, see what works, see what doesn't. And I often get it to do first drafts of things. I mentioned earlier, I'm speaking at an event in a few weeks. Now, through my own research outside of AI, I came up with a concept, and then I sort of outlined what I wanted to ChatGPT initially, which gave me slides and a prompt, like slide ideas and a prompt. I put that into Claude, which put it in our branding. The first result wasn't great, but it gave me something to start with, and I'm in the process of editing it, and it will be really, really good by the end.
If this episode has you wondering whether your company that you're in is actually making use of emerging tech and is on the top of the game, it's time to stop guessing, because AcademyEx has built a 12-week training program for hands-on AI software development. You or your team will learn how these systems work under the hood and build an actual prototype week by week alongside tech experts that are local. So imagine taking that software idea that you've been sitting on and you turn it into a real deployed tool that you can test on customers or pitch to your leadership team. You don't need to become a full-time developer. You just need the fluency to build things yourself or brief an agency properly so it gets things done right. So walk into the next strategy meeting with an actual product, not a shrug. So click the link below or scan the QR code on your screen to learn more about AcademyEx and their course. Application close on the 10th of September. Hello, thanks for watching this video. Quick note, have you subscribed? Over 90% of people who are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple are not subscribed or following. Please do so now. It's so simple. The button will be around the screen somewhere. You either hit subscribe or hit the follow button or leave me a review. It will help me so much, helps me grow as a channel and support my work. So I really appreciate it. Okay. Back to the episode. So the conversation around agentic systems and AI engine optimization, which we've talked about last episode, it has reached a fever pitch. So it's shifting rapidly from speculative tech hype to standard enterprise strategy. And I feel like the market has moved past the basic chatbots. You're moving now into AI voice caller. Professionals, businesses, they want to know how to optimize their data so they can have autonomous agents, AI agents, interact with, cite, and execute transactions on their platforms. So I feel like we are moving from eyeballs to algorithms to some extent. How have you seen that play out with your own clients?
So I'm totally immersed in this kind of thing at the moment.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to a stage, and I think the first stage will be like delegated e-commerce, so zero-click e-commerce. You might say, I want a pair of Nike Air Maxes delivered on Friday. I want to spend less than $200. The AI agent says, okay, goes and finds it, comes back, you say, buy it, and it comes on Friday.
Yeah.
In that scenario, you've not visited a website, you've not done a search, but you've got the item. And this year, MasterCard did the first agentic purchase within New Zealand. They bought cinema tickets and a hotel booking. I was actually chatting with the guy at the 11 Labs thing from MasterCard who architected that. And last week I was with Google for Google Marketing Live, and they're talking about their protocol, which is open source for agentic purchases. And then we go one step further and delegated decisions. So beyond e-commerce, like, I want to go on holiday, find me the destination, create the trip, book everything on the journey, job done. And that is where we're going. And if you think about it, the whole goal for marketers is lack of friction and increased personalization. And if you stay within one platform and it if you want a web experience, it dynamically generates that within that one platform. You can do whatever you want. It will do whatever you want. Then everything changes. And so what's important for businesses? So businesses need to make sure their data is clean and ready. Like if the pricing's going to take a little bit longer, you might just lose out. If you haven't got a returns policy, all these different facets. Now there's no emotion when an AI agent makes that decision. And so user interface, irrelevant. What is important is the information that you give the AI agent. The other side of it is building trust, because if you build your brand, that becomes a moat. So say, for example, you're looking for washing powder. You say to AI, I want to get some washing powder delivered on Friday. It's a race to the bottom. It's commoditized. Whereas if you've built your brand and you say to the AI agent, I want personal washing powder, well then already you're going to be in that decision. And so by building that brand and building that trust layer, you negate that commoditization and race to the bottom. And so I think brand building, personal and business, is going to be a really big factor in success in the future. And that's because you're interrupting the process at the beginning before the AI agent gets in. But on the other side, your data's got to be accurate. It's got to be up to date. It's got to be fast. It's got to have all the information that an AI agent wants. And then there's also the trust layer of third party, Reddit, reviews, all that kind of stuff is going to influence that decision for the AI agent that is totally emotionless.
You've just described the generative engine optimization versus traditional SEO, I think, the zero-click reality and optimizing for citations. I want to just take you back to the eyeballs, to algorithms, the death of scrolling. So industry leaders are now coming up to grips with the fact that autonomous AIs are going to deal more with systematic, organized data versus a brand, a color, or a catchy headline. They're going to, AI is going to scroll right through that and get into the crux of it. So, but then we need to have that trust factor. And it's not contradictory, is it?
No, absolutely. So trust is a big element of why things surface in AI. So if you've got good reviews, you're talked about a lot online, you're talked about in the media, you're seen as an authority. So that reduces risk for the AI companies. And so that trust layer is absolutely critical for the future. And even down to things like the information it has, it's called an entity. Right? If your entity has disparate information, so phone number's different somewhere else, that builds questionable signals. You want everything to be accurate and to be the same. And so ensuring that, say you've moved premises, all the old information has been updated to the new information, because otherwise there's questions. And I'm working with this organization and they've sold part of their business. And some of the international websites talk about the old bit, some talk about the new bit. And so the AI agents are getting the information from places like Wikipedia and things like that. And so you've got to make sure that all that information is correct. And that's a job in itself, but it's critical, and
Very
it's going
important.
to be critical more for the future.
I see. So the trust economy. So businesses are asking how to build digital products optimized for machine consumers, right? Success is like shifting from making a human convinced of a brand versus now we've got a flawless data that an AI agent can rationally evaluate and act upon. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, to a large extent. I think we've got a way to go because still Google is the primary source of traffic. But yeah, I think next year and the following year is going to be the years of agentic SEO is what we call it.
You might have touched on this already, but what are the mistakes business owners are making that are not helping for them in this space?
Shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
Like all these, like when I started Pure SEO in 2009, like it was really hard to get business because I was saying SEO takes time, can't guarantee results. And our competitors were saying, I will get you to number one on Google in 3 months, guaranteed. So who are they going to go with? Well, they weren't going to go with me. like a year later, Google updated the algorithm and all these businesses lost all their rankings because they were taking shortcuts. That's happening a lot now in AI. So you talk about listicles, like creating a list with yourself at the top. And I'm talking about it in a few weeks. Now, Reddit influences AI answers a lot because it's third-party validation, recommendation. So there's a whole industry which has just spawned up, which is basically spamming Reddit to insert businesses within comments that are appearing in LLMs. Now, it will give you quick wins and it will look really good. And a lot of brands will think, oh, look, it's working. But there's risk. And, I wouldn't do it because when it comes down to it, and there was an example, I think 2007, BMW in Germany, it was, created all these like doorway pages ranking for terms. And basically their domain rank went from really high to 0 overnight because they got caught. And it was like a big high profile thing. And this stuff's going to happen again. I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
And I view, if it looks like spam, it is spam. If you're a bit suspicious about it, just don't do it. Like there's no point taking these shortcuts for short-term gains when there is the risk of brand damage, there is the risk of losing visibility. And I see it all the time at the moment.
So people just, how are they doing it? Spamming Reddit to make, like, do they have an account, make posts and write comments and stuff like that?
Yeah, so for example, say you're looking for best restaurant in Ponsonby or something, right? And so what they'll do is they'll type in best restaurant Ponsonby in the various LLMs and they'll look at the sources. And the ones at Reddit, they'll see which threads are surfacing and they'll make comment and they say, oh, you've got to visit whatever restaurant in Ponsonby. It's the best ever.
Oh, okay.
And so when the AI agent surfaces that again, it sees that comment and it pulls it through verbatim. And so they're gaming the system. And there's whole organizations in the US. It's not really happening in New Zealand yet, but it will. And as far as I know, no one's talking about it yet. So give it 6 months and I reckon it'll be everywhere. I think.
Is that happening to ChatGPT and Claude?
Yeah,
and
all of them.
All of them?
Yeah.
And how long do you think it's going to go before people realize that's not going to work?
6 months, a year, who knows?
And then there'll be like a change in the way that AI does things, and then they're not going to come up in the search results.
Yeah, and they might even be penalised. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
Because all these LLM companies care about is market share and shareholder value. And anything that impacts that, like this, they're going to go down hard. But until it impacts it, they don't really care. It's when it starts to become a problem for the users and etc. that they clamp down on it, like Google did back in the day with, there was called Penguin and Panda 2 algorithm updates, which decimated businesses.
I see. So what should people do in addition to what else that you've sort of talked about in terms of having your data up to date? If there's any discrepancies, getting what do you need to do to be in front, and what do you need to do to play the long game, not the short game?
Cool.
The smart game. So
first I would look at your industry, put some prompts into the different things and look which sources it looks at, because that's obviously going to be important to you. Reddit at the moment is quite an important strategy if you do it slowly, organically and in an ethical manner. I've actually written a comprehensive guide which is on the Optimisers website, but it's really comprehensive, like from yay to thing, week 1, what type of person you need to do it, what you need to do.
Okay. Can you give us a snapshot of that summary?
Yeah, so first off, you are transparent about who you are. You provide value. You don't try and sell anything. You integrate yourself into communities, and over time you can maybe do like a ask me anything. So you're a GEO expert and you've built up a bit of credibility, and you do an ask me anything and engage with people and provide value and build up your reputation. Like most things, if you want instant results, it might give you instant results, but you might get banned, you might get penalized. There's all sorts of ramifications, which could be brand damaging. If you want to do something properly, like most things, there's a lot of work involved and it takes a lot of time. But that's why it's good, because most people won't do that. And the ones that keep doing things slowly and they don't see results at the beginning, they're the ones that win out in the long run. It's the same in business. You do a podcast, for example, you're going to get bugger all visitors or listeners for your first few, and it's going to be accretive, it's going to build up. But the ones that endure, the ones that keep doing it, the ones that are relentless are the ones that survive. The ones that get 10 down the line think, oh, I've had a rubbish number of people, it's not working, and stop, are the majority of people.
Yeah.
And it's the same with most marketing things. And the other is be visible, build your brand, respond to your customers, surprise and delight, make them give case studies or give third-party validations, do press releases, create one of the best things to get into large language models and also the media is unique data. How can you get unique data for your industry? What is your area of expertise that you're really going to provide value to people? And that is gold. I'd rather do much less content and do something data-led that's unique, that gives people value, than a blog post every week or whatever it is. And I certainly wouldn't get AI to write content on a mass level and produce it, because again, that's spam and you're just going to go to a sea of sameness. Think about your uniqueness, think about your difference, think about the value you can add in your industry, and then you start on the right path.
Okay, so that's good to know. So to some extent, you need to, for you personally, you've been working on your brand. What do you say has helped you the most? Can you track it? I mean, I was going to get to the tracking part at some stage, but how are you tracking your own success? Can you actually track what is working with AI and LLMs?
Yeah, so we have prompt tracking software. We use third-party software where you can track prompts. Now, it's not perfect because the way an AI works is probabilistic, so you get a different answer each time, and everybody searches with different terms anyway. And so our methodologies go deep in a certain topic, so you get a broad range of prompts and you get an idea. But then you also track what comes to the website and the behavior. We get quite a lot of leads from ChatGPT as a business, and they're usually decent quality. And so measurement is hard if they don't give you a citation, so a link, or someone doesn't visit you and you just appear in the outcome. How do you track that? You can't.
Yeah.
So attribution is hard.
Yeah.
With ourselves, I know it's accretive. I know you keep on doing things, and hence I speak at a lot of events. I release a lot of unique data. I'm on LinkedIn a lot because as well, large language models pull stuff from LinkedIn.
They're like LinkedIn. Yeah. Hello, thanks for watching this video. Quick note, have you subscribed? Over 90% of people who are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or on Apple are not subscribed or following. Please do so now. It's so simple. The button will be around the screen somewhere. You either hit subscribe or hit the follow button or leave me a review. It will help me so much, helps me grow as a channel and support my work. So I really appreciate it. Okay, back to the episode. I do want to understand how these things will help. How does the AI system uses your event and uses your special data that you're making available on LinkedIn? How is that helping it to make a decision about you?
So it's that trust layer.
Yeah. But what is an event? How is that? What is it thinking? How is it dissecting the information? What do you need to do if someone wants to go and do an event? How do you do it in a way that AI is going to pick it up? I don't know.
So for me, it's more that I'm a speaker at, say, the Marketing Association event. So if I'm listed as a speaker, it shows that I must be an authority in that field, because the Marketing Association is the body for marketing in New Zealand.
Right.
And the same with the IAB.
Okay.
And so it's that kind of stuff that has a real impact because it shows credibility.
And because it's reading, is that what you're saying? It actually reads the internet, and it reads that based on your LinkedIn, you have been, so it actually makes correlations.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a language model, so it does. But also with LinkedIn, it actually uses LinkedIn as citation, as sources for stuff. And so,
because how can it do so without having access to your profile? It has to be connected to you. So
it pulls stuff from the open web. So it won't actually go necessarily and look through my stuff. It will find someone's asked something, and it will find something on LinkedIn maybe that I've said or somebody else has said that's relevant to creating the answer for that, and it will be part of the source, much like it does on Reddit.
Okay. So you talked about speaking. You talked about Reddit, talked about LinkedIn. Speaking, I suppose podcasts also play a role. Media play a role. So this is what you're describing as the trust economy, where the AI is now going to be doing the hard work for somebody else, and finding out more about you and making a decision: do you show up, do you not? So, and you're kind of testing it, but you're not really, like, it's hard to really measure like what activity is the best. Like, can you tell me if, like, what is the best move? Like, what is a more effective move?
So it depends on the industry. And if you look at the sources and you do prompts around your industry, you'll see where it pulls information. We've kind of coined the term search everywhere optimization, because it's no longer for Google. It's large language models. It might even be social media searches. And it's really about talking to your audience in a way they want, at a time they want, in a manner they want. And so it's about finding what works for your business. Like, for example, PB Tech, Reddit's probably really important for them because people are talking about computers and things like that. Whereas for a business like ours, it's probably not as important directly. You know, things like the Marketing Association or the IAB would be more important because they're authoritative in our industry, and their publications will be seen as crucial. So it really depends on the individual industry. But I don't think one tactic in itself. There's obviously the technical stuff like structured data, and making the website accessible to large language models, and in answering questions rather than keywords.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of different factors, and I would prioritize by what I think will give the biggest impact, and I also try and sort of match that with actually what will give value anyway. So even if it wasn't impacting the LLMs, will it be valuable to your audience and will it reach them? And because if you do both, there's like a benefit across both.
Exactly. So optimizing for citations, the consensus is that AI engine optimization is relying on intense structured data, schema, original statistics, clear entity definitions, and highly recent content. It's under 3 months old. Is that stuff can be done by a typical person, or do they really need like special support, like to get this schema going? Like, I don't know. I don't even know what schema is. How do people go around doing that? What's the answer?
So it really depends on the individual and their technical capability, because you can ask Claude for all these things if you know what to ask for, and it can help you put it together. But is it going to differentiate, as if an expert thing? But regardless, if you're a small business and you can't afford to employ third parties, putting out really good content on sites that your audience will help. And it should be done, engaging with local community and trying to get talked about on community pages. Like, a lot of the things we're doing are just good marketing and good brand building. I mean, digital PR is excellent for that. And so, you can absolutely do it, much like you could with SEO. It's not so different, albeit now you've got Claude, which you can ask for support. The issue is, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what's right or wrong, you might take something that Claude says as gospel, and it might be wrong.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a certain amount of, you've got to really think about it before you do it. Like, you could change a gasket in a car with Claude, but is it good use of your time? And so it really depends on budgets, time, how busy you are, how technically adept you are, and your interest. If you're not interested in this stuff, you're never going to be able to implement yourself. But if you're a startup entrepreneur who's building a business and you don't have the budget for external help, you 100% could do it. I would have done it in the early days for my own business, because I couldn't afford anyone else. And it needs to be done, and it's good marketing anyway.
Yeah. And so for people who can afford the help, can get an expertise, how different is the expertise to go and do it, just get AI to do it for you?
Massive. Because if you think about it, if you get AI to do it for you, there's millions of other people getting AI to do it for you. So you go into a world of averageness that hasn't got that unique thought and that unique process and that institutional knowledge. So you can do it, but you'll be average.
Yeah.
So, but I run an agency, I am biased. I think people should get, especially larger businesses, because there's the issue of potential brand damage if you do something yourself, like the whole Reddit thing. It might seem like, it's really easy, just jump in, start commenting, start promoting our stuff. Or you start promoting your stuff, you're going to get kicked off, you're going to get banned. There's all these potential pitfalls that until you've been there and done it and seen it, it's quite hard to see. That's one of the benefits of that entrepreneurs organization I'm a member of, because you're in a small group and people share the stuff that's gone wrong and their own stories, and you learn so much by other people's mistakes.
Could you share, please, what you hear in the EO organization? It's for business owners who are,
over $1 million
make $1 million. What's on the ground within the organization? You don't need to name names, obviously, but I'm very curious and insight into.
I've been a member 13 years, and there's been so many learnings and so many mistakes that I haven't made because of
because you talk about them, you hear what other people are doing.
Yeah, you do. You hear what other people are doing. And one of the times it was most beneficial was during COVID, because there was no rule books. And my forum was meeting every week. And we had a dude called Mike Marr in our forum who owns who owns TPT Group. He's a real good guy, a very successful entrepreneur. And he was sharing some of the insights of what they're doing. Are we going down to 80% pay? All these different things. Are we getting the government subsidy? And by chatting through with the other entrepreneurs, it allowed you to make decisions much quicker. Because when you're doing it on your own, you second guess yourself and you think, is this right? But when you've got a group of eight entrepreneurs and you're all in the same boat, you're all talking about the same thing, you can make decisions much quicker, and making slow decisions can be critical.
You've recently won an award for IAG.
So I got
or you've been inducted in the Hall of Fame in an advertising body. And tell us more about it.
So I got inducted this week in the Hall of Fame, the IAB, which is pretty
congratulations.
Cool. Thank you. So I won services to the industry in 2023, and I don't normally get involved in marketing awards. It's more entrepreneurship awards, and so I brought my kid along with me because I'm quite proud. It's a big moment. Come to New Zealand 17 years ago, know nobody, and part of the whole strategy or the whole thing was like, I want to help the next generation of marketers and teach them, and you don't do it for awards, but to be recognised is really cool. It feels good.
And what is it? How is it? How do you feel as a business owner who've worked so hard to be finally recognised for that?
It actually feels nice to get the recognition. Like I never in a million years thought I would, and didn't expect to. But that stuff's nice. It's not going to change much in terms of behaviour or anything like that. But it is nice to be recognised, and it's nice for your kids to see you recognised. So it was cool. It was a surprise and really nice.
Yeah. Well, it's been really good to chat, Richard. I want to understand from you any final thoughts about how business owners, how companies should be thinking about their presence online, about their branding online, about how they show up in LLMs. If they want to show up, what do they need to do? And perhaps what's stopping them from doing that, actually? Bit of a loaded question, but just a final thoughts on anyone listening going, I would love to get like a few bits and pieces out of, just to learn from Richard about how do I market my business, maybe maybe they want to do it themselves first, and then maybe like, okay, well, this is a bit complicated. We'll try and reach out to someone more specialist in the space.
So, interestingly, being high on Google doesn't mean you're going to be in the large language models. So, and the world's changing. So, if it was me, and I don't know much about this space, I would start following the industry leaders. People like Brittany Muller, Rand Fishkin, and people like that, because that information is out there, and these guys are doing big data studies on what's working and what's not, and use what they're doing and what they're saying in your own thought process. But really, the big thing I would do as an entrepreneur is get out there, speak at events, release unique data like we talked about, and just build your brand, build your personal brand, because that's your moat in the future. If someone asks for you specifically or wants you in the consideration because they know you, it doesn't matter what the robots do, because you're part of that consideration. And so I really do think that brand building, getting yourself out there, providing value, it won't give you immediate results. It won't, smash sales targets, but it will endure and it will give you value in the long run. And the other thing is, right, and it's a big thing, right? If it looks like spam and it feels like spam, just don't bloody do it. Because it will come back to bite you. And so many people want to take shortcuts, and those shortcuts invariably,
it's really painful.
It
really hurt you in the long run. I mean, this is what I tell people that I work with, because in the podcasting space, if people want to look at podcasting for their own visibility, if they choose that way, if they do it in a certain way where they've never been on a show, they just jump at the opportunity, and it's a great podcast, but they haven't got the backing of a prep and all the rest of it. And if they're super new, it's just like, it's going to hurt you more. Like, that's a shortcut. But just go and do proper prep first before you get on a podcast, or before even going to do any interview, even present. Work on yourself, prepare yourself, and then get clarity on your positioning and all that, and then go and speak, because that's going to help you in the long run. There's more preparing now. So I really agree with that notion to do not take shortcuts.
Well, people only look professional and look like it's easy because they put in the hard work. It's not. It takes time.
It does, eh?
Yeah.
They've gone hours and hours in the back end without the limelight to work on their craft and to make themselves look great on camera or in front of a client, or know what they're doing. So they've done the hard part. So definitely agree with that. Great thoughts. Good to have you again.
Thanks for having me.
Good updates.
Cheers.
And if people want to find out more about you, how can they do so?
I'm on LinkedIn. Company's the Optimisers. I'm pretty relaxed. You're welcome to reach out. Yeah.
Awesome, Richard. Thank you. Good to have you. We'll see you soon.